Hi there. Welcome everyone to another Medical Monday and a brand new episode of Should You Take That Case? And our goal, as always, here is to be a resource for legal professionals who pursue medically related cases by sharing their experiences and insights as defense or plaintiff attorneys. I am your host, Lisa Wade, legal nurse consultant and owner of Wade Nurse Consultants. Think of us when you have those medical records that need reviewing and summarizing. And I am also the creator of our attorney medical record resource group and LinkedIn. That's our private community where we get all of our wonderful attorney guests. That's where they all come from. We use this as an opportunity to get to know one another, and we're going to do that today with Behram Parekh. But first, before we get to Behram in California, we're going to scoot over to our comment section and see our chat and see if anybody's visiting us live. If you are, hello there. If you're catching us on the replay, welcome. We're going to scoot over there and we are going to ask you if you are an attorney. Put an A in that chat so we can see you. Say hello. If you're a paralegal, put a P. A legal assistant, put an LA. And if you are a part of one of my favorite organizations, Women Owned Law, put a W in that chat because Women Owned Law is a wonderful, groundbreaking group, and it's created to connect and advance women legal entrepreneurs. So check us out on at womenownedlaw.org. Now we are going to introduce our guest for today. Behram Parekh is a partner at Delamonte, Reeb, and Stoller LLP, which specializes in representing injured clients in Mass-Tort litigation. Behram works in the Los Angeles office, has litigated class action and Mass-Tort cases for over 25 years, and has been appointed to numerous lead counsel, executive committee, and steering committee positions in large MDL cases. Behram has been selected to the Southern California Super Lawyers since 2012. And has been selected to the National Trial Lawyers Top 100 since 2016 and is a fellow of the Pound Institute. Behram is regularly invited to speak on topics related to complex litigation and particularly the discovery of electronically stored information. And now we bring to you Behram Parekh. There you are, Behram. Oh, let me unmute you. That would help. There you go. Welcome, Behram.
I'll start over. Hi, Lisa. It's nice to see you and be heard.
Thank you for coming. Is sunny California today?
It's gorgeous out. It's 76 degrees. I actually have to come inside from outdoors in order to do this.
Oh man, you gotta turn on the air conditioner.
Not yet.
Okay. Oh, well, thank goodness. Thank goodness. All right. Well, Behram, I'm so glad you are with us today. I know we're gonna get into the topic of medical records and how they come up during your litigations. But first, we want to hear all about you. What led you to this area of law? What led you to be a lawyer? And you can go as far back as you like to the playground or the crib. What got you into this?
Well, I actually fell into what I'm doing now by accident. When I went to law school, I had totally intended to be a entertainment lawyer, being in LA, and when I got out, the job market in 1995 was absolutely horrible. And I sent out about 100 resumes and got zero responses. And basically, took the job that I found and realized that I actually love this job and it's a great fit for what I like to do because I feel like I'm actually helping people and not just, turning a corporate wheel. So that's sort of where it started. I got an interview at a firm through a friend of mine who was working there and got signed on part time to do document review. And then they liked me, and that's how it sort of panned out.
Hmm. So it sounds like you just tripped over and fell in what you love to do.
It was surprising. I hadn't really thought about wanting to go litigate. I mean, I'd always done debate and speech and all of those things, but living in LA, everyone expects you to do sports law or entertainment law or something like that, and that's sort of what I'd focused on. But it felt really different and good to be able to represent people and argue things in court. And as the line goes, lawyers are frustrated actors, and I found that I really was a frustrated actor.
Hmm. Excellent. Well, I'm glad you found your way here, and I'm sure your clients are very happy to have you.
So they tell me every once in a while. It is nice to hear from them.
Excellent. Now, how do you get the cases that you work on, and how do you go about deciding if you should take that case or pass it on to someone else? Tell me what goes into that decision.
Sure. So the vast majority of the cases we look at come in either through attorney referrals, or a small percentage of them come through direct advertising. But most of our cases we get through referrals. And they tend to be from firms who normally do individual personal injury litigation, like car accidents or injuries at work, workers' comp cases. And when those attorneys run across a case that's a Mass-Tort case that's being handled by larger firms, rather than trying to do that in-house, which is relatively difficult to do, and especially if you've only got a few cases, takes a lot more resources than a firm like us who has several thousand cases in a particular litigation. Um, it's just much more efficient for those firms to refer those cases to us.
Well, you had mentioned in the bio about the electronic information, and that being a guide into your clients.
Sure. So when we're evaluating clients to intake, we obviously have to look at the medical records first and see if they even fit the criteria. So the first step is always interviewing the client, then getting the medical records, which can take a while, as you well know. Some of these doctors are not exactly happy to hand those over. And so while we're in the process of doing that, what we also do is we take a look at the client's social media if we can, and if we have access to it, or if we can get the client to give us access to it. And what it does is it allows us to preempt a lot of the issues that come up later on down the line when your client sits for a deposition and somebody asks them a question like, so, what about that trip to Aspen that you took and where you injured your back? And you posted all on Facebook about all of that, and you had no idea that that even happened because your client didn't think it was important to tell you. So being able to do that research and look into their social media and look into what else they've posted lets you preempt those kinds of things and talk to your client before they come at you as a surprise when the opposing counsel, who has done that, finds out and asks them about them.
The thought of having things you've done on social media be exposed in your court case, that is frightening.
And defense counsel, especially in personal injury cases, have gotten much more sophisticated, excuse me, in being able to track down client social media and employ investigators to research it. And the things that they find are sometimes mind boggling. And the things that your clients have posted are sometimes mind boggling. And you have to ask, why would you do that?
What are you
Why?
thinking?
Yeah, what were you thinking?
Thinking. Oh man. Oh boy. Well, thank thank goodness that you have that as part of what you do, so you can sidestep a lot of issues. So, oh, thank goodness. Well, how about this? When those records finally do arrive, and sometimes they're massive and terrible to deal with, do you have any kind of special or specific protocol or procedure for diving into those records and getting all that you need out of them?
Yeah, so we actually directly employ several retired nurses to review our medical records for us. And our firm is large enough and we have enough of an inventory where, they're full time looking at medical records day in, day out.
Mhm.
But for smaller firms, I mean, I think it would make a lot of sense for them to outsource that because it's, something that you don't want, even as an attorney who's been practicing for 25 years and reading medical records is not the best use of my time to be digging through 150 pages or 5,000 pages, depending on the client, of medical
Mhm.
records. It's much more efficient to have someone do that for you, flag the things that are interesting, especially people who know how to read medical records and can do that efficiently.
Mhm. Yeah, nurses are handy. What can I say?
They are, and especially now, I mean, it's really hard to get nurses because the demand for them is so high. Um, but on the other hand, there are people who are, a little bit burned out from everything that's been going on in all of our
Mhm.
lives, but especially in theirs, and who are happy to sit at a desk and review medical records instead of having to deal with, being in the hospital all the time.
That's true. I'm right here. I understand all of that. So, I've been working at home for 9 years, so
There you
I
go.
I I could see easily how people could get fried doing what they're doing, and thank goodness they're there doing it right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not something I would ever be able to do, and more power to them.
Definitely. And how about this? What do you find the most frustrating or troublesome or your biggest pet peeves about these medical records that are involved in your cases?
So there's probably three things actually, if I can be indulged to,
Sure.
I guess, complain about them. The first is just how much time it takes to get them. I mean, even with electronic medical records and the electronic medical records, transparency and all of that, it just takes an inordinate amount of time to
Mm.
obtain medical records. We've gotten so far sometimes when we have deadlines coming in to have the client go into their doctor's office with a scanner in hand and say, you need to give me my file. I'm going to scan it right here and send it to my attorney because that's the only way that, I'm able to get them. And we still have doctors refuse and say no. And these are the patient's medical records. I mean, they absolutely have a right to them. And it's just incredibly frustrating to get that delay.
Mhm.
And then the other part is that a lot of times we'll get a certificate of non-records and realize that that was just wrong. And they do actually have records when we go back and we go, wait, this isn't right. We know this person was here. We have partial records from stuff that they kept. How come you have nothing? And it's just, again, it's just people in the medical establishment not realizing that, this is something that's actually not, it's not the same as medical care for their clients, but it certainly is care for their clients that they're not giving them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else?
I think I said three, but I think I covered the
You got it.
last
I think
two
you did. Okay.
together.
All right. Just checking, just checking. Because you've given a lot of good information, a lot of interesting details. And I'm just trying to see if you have anything else, anything other advice for any of the newbie attorneys or veteran attorneys out there that should go into how they decide if they should take these medical cases with these gigantic, enormous medical records involved.
Sure. So a few sort of tips in terms of getting the medical records. One is electronic signatures are required to be accepted by law. And particularly California has its own statute. There's a US statute that basically says the same thing. And they cannot require you to provide a physical signature. An electronic signature is the equivalent of a physical signature. So when they come back and say, oh, no, we need a wet signature from your client, they're wrong. And you can send them a letter at the top of your medical records request that says and cites to your state's particular statute and says, under this statute, you are required to accept an electronic signature as if it was a wet signature. And that will help stave off at least some of the delays that occurs when they keep coming back to you, going back and forth. The other, in terms of the medical records review, is these are, for a personal injury client, these are what make or break your case. And you really need to have somebody who understands the records do an initial review when you first agree to take your case before you spend tons of money on doctors and other experts and other people to testify and review and economists and all of that stuff. You want somebody who really understands what those records say to take a review and give you a synopsis so that you know whether or not what your client's telling you is actually what can be backed up in the records.
Mm-hmm. That is wonderful advice. I can't tell you how many cases I have come in and at the tail end of things, only to tell people, hey, maybe this case shouldn't you shouldn't have taken this case.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's hard for the client too, because the client has now put in a lot of time and effort and probably had his deposition taken or her deposition taken. And it's emotionally a roller coaster for your client to have to relive and go through all of these things. And why would you put them through it when at the end of the day, there's something in there that's not going to let you prosecute the case?
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably maybe hard to hear, but yeah, I like what you're saying to bring me in early at the beginning. I'll tell you exactly what those records say. So that's good
go.
advice. All right. Well, we are at the point in our show where it's time for a little Q&A. So,
okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Well, this is how it works. Anybody out there that has any questions for Behram, get them together and get ready to put them inside the chat, and he's going to answer them. So, while they're getting their questions together, Behram, this is also part of the show where we have a little sponsor break. So I can tell the people a little bit about Wade Nurse Consultants. Now, without a review and summary of the medical records, it could be harder to know if you should take that case. And I give attorneys a 1 to 2 page synopsis and opinion regarding the merits of those cases by using my 30 plus years of nursing experience to make quick work of medical case screenings. So if you're watching this and you have 2 nurses on staff, this isn't for you. But if you have a backlog of medical case screenings to get done, or you need some clarity on medical issues, so you can free yourself to focus on the legal strategies that are going to be part of your case, then this is what you need to do right now. We are offering 20-minute medical record strategy calls, and they'll help you hone an efficient, timely, and a cost-effective routine around your medical cases. So, click on the link that you'll find in the description box of this YouTube channel and schedule that call. Now, we're going to get back to Behram and the Q&A. Behram, let me look over here in the comments. Are there any questions for us right now? Not right now. But I have a method for dealing with this kind of thing, Behram. What I do is I have taken your contact information, I put them inside the description box of this YouTube channel so the people can reach out at replay after the show, reach out to you and ask the questions that they are waiting for those answers from you. Are you up for that?
Absolutely. Happy to talk to anyone. And if you have questions about Mass-Tort cases in particular and what to do with them, I'm always happy to talk. And you don't have to refer them to us, but I'm happy to give you my advice.
All right. Well, there's nothing wrong with a little referral. So
Absolutely.
That's all good. So, Behram, I think we're winding up for today. I ask you, will you come back again one day?
Absolutely. And
Excellent.
being
It's
in Los
wonderful.
Angeles with the Super Bowl, go Rams.
Oh, go Rams. All right. Well, listen, I can't.
I know.
It's the Eagles. I can't get involved if it's, so I don't know. So whatever's happening, good luck. Good luck. All right. Well, in closing, let me say this, give you gentle reminders, everyone out there, to like and subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions for Behram, go to that description box and get his contact information. If you have any questions for me about legal nurse consultants and what they do, then email me at lisa@wadenurseconsultants.com. But you can catch us next week for another episode, Monday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for a brand new episode of Should You Take That Case. Thanks for coming, Behram.
Thanks, Lisa.